but it comes a lot from the stuff I've been reading, the constraint-led approach and things like that, and probably comes from that podcast I talked about, the talent equation and places like that. The idea is repetitions with variability.
Yeah.
So if we're drilling something like a psychic and you hold the gloves and I'm psychic, that is the same.
Yeah.
But now let's train it with variability within different variables in terms of distance, timing, setups, range, tempo.
Okay, right.
So
you're not just becoming an expert.
Yeah, so you're an expert at kicking a pad. You're a world champion on pads. Standing in the one spot, on the toes, lifting kick. You're great at that. But that's not what you're going to do.
No.
You need to compete against an opponent. So that this whole idea of opposed practice is also quite important. Something that we touched on earlier. Like, all the training on your own is fantastic, but it's only going to get you so far. You need to be able to feed off distance and timing and decisions. You need to be actively doing these things. And this only comes from this repetition without repetition. So you're repping the same scenario, or you're facilitating the same thing to happen by the way you constrain, or by the way that you manipulate how the training is designed based on what you think. So you might change the rules, the spacing, what you can and can't do, and this facilitates a certain thing to happen if you think about it well enough. And then, for example, like the exercise we had with the avoiding off the pivot off the line.
That's really cool.
So that puts that into the reality of a sparring match.
Yeah, and what I like about it is you're step-stoning the progression. It's not like 0 to game. You know, you're iteratively solving the problem by dividing up the solution.
Definitely, you gotta have that solid foundation, as we said. You gotta have that foundation of the movement pattern. If you don't have the movement pattern and you just throw them in the deep end, for me, I think that it's not going to be as efficient.
But again, if you look at ITF Taekwondo, in what we do, right? If I said to somebody who walked into the class, Dosan, what? You know, no, you need to teach them one, and you need to teach them step turn, and like we do all of this. It's amazing. We break down the technical fundamentals.
But the problem is sometimes we leave it in the isolation.
But we don't bring it to the connection.
Like for me, black belt should be training isolation drills.
I kind of agree with you that
to an extent. Unless you're really working on something specific. But they should have a solid foundation in their technique at this stage. They should be working on the brain. Well, I mean, that's at what point does practice or tactics? So for me, the earlier you start, it's more technique in terms of movement patterns.
Here are the skills.
Building the skills, and then you gotta transition to using the skills. Right time, putting the right skill in the right position. Like the skill in isolation is fantastic, but you're missing the other things that put it into place.
That make it effective in the scenario you want it to be effective in, right?
So like there has to be things there that are representative to what you're actually doing, and they have to be transferable to the fight. And when we talk about that, we're talking about having opponents, we're talking about game speed, we're talking about making decisions actively. You're trying to complete a task, I'm trying to complete a task. It's when you think about it, it's common sense.
I know, right? It's strange though. I mean, Taekwondo is sometimes viewed as an individual sport. And it's crazy the way when you talk about this, how important that club is now and that team is. So even though you as an individual athlete in sparring or patterns or power or whatever it might be, right? If you don't have that sounding board to develop your skills, those club mates, it becomes very difficult, right? And if not, you know, I won't say, but you know, it's
absolutely like them skills that we talked about, the first 5. Even the idea of distance, timing, footwork, decision making, all these things, they have to be based on another human being.
On an input, you can't do it off the plug socket.
Like you have to. There's this idea of perception action coupling. So what I perceive has to be coupled with an action. And without the perception of another body or human, then I'm missing the whole part of that equation.
I wonder, is that where the old shadow boxing stuff came from, and is there
maybe if the whole visualization and things like that, and again that's tradition. People think this is the way you train. You run a lot, you do some shadow boxing, you skip,
you hit the heavy bag, and
you hit the heavy bag, but you don't do any of those things in the ring.
Hang on till I bring my bag in the ring.
There you go, put your bag in there, punch it, and you see how that works out for you.